Hey everybody and welcome. So I want to make a small update on my Hyper E Ride mountain bike. Mention something that I upgraded it with a new speed controller system from a previous mistake I'd done, and something I should probably never done, but I ended up throwing the speed control and cutting most of the wires off from the brake handles because my cable for the pedal assist sensor actually got clipped off, and I was like, oh, but I could have probably just bought this little thing and some plug difference and probably fixed that. But I ended up being stupid and throwing the entire system away. So I bought a new complete speed control throttle, some plugs, and an adapter system because when I took this apart to look at the sensor of why this was, I wanted to switch this. The pedal assist sensor was, I had to pedal backwards for it to actually power the thing, and I was kind of stupid because I didn't realize this until after. But when I took everything apart, I realized that down here, the two prongs that keep this battery pushed up and release um, when you pop out the battery are actually just like sort of floating there. So the cables that are in here actually go around them. They don't go under, they don't go above, they go around them. So, and there's nothing integrated. They're not screwed down into the frame themselves. They're just sort of floating there. So it's just like, what the heck? And having to put everything back together was a pain in the butthole. But here's the thing. When I did take it apart to probably switch around the speed control sensor, like change the wire from negative, positive, change those around to see if I can flip around the power performance of the pedal assist, none of that worked. And then I was like, well, I might as well just put everything back together. And it was very difficult because it's all sort of under inside this little ramp area that's the cover is on for the on top of the battery. There's a little ramp piece about that big for the power cable and such forth to go up here from the battery pack and the pedal assistance. Well, that wasn't working very well, so I was like, okay, maybe I can just sort of ramp it through here and out and do it like that, just sort of have it glued to the side of the frame. When I did that, I put the cover back on that holds the battery in place with the two ramp pieces. When I slammed it in, it basically, you guessed it, it cut the wires. And I was like, ugh. And then after I was like, okay, screw it, I'm gonna just rip everything out. I cut everything and whatnot, took out the speed control, put everything back together, and left the cables for the battery and whatnot, just left them there. I realized after I took out the pedal assist sensor from the mount piece right here, guess what? It on the little magnetic sensor unscrews from the metal plate, and you can flip it around and re-screw it. I was like, ugh. Oh my gosh. I was like completely like, wow. I'm an idiot. And what I did learn also is that the pedal assist sensor is a 3-pin wire. So you might even be able to basically remove the pedal assist sensor for a throttle assist sensor. So like this thing, this is only a 3-pin with an on and off switch. So you might be able to use this, I'll link it down below, for that standard speed control and just have it throttle instead of a pedal assist. Still not sure, you'll have to try it because I don't have my original speed control, but yeah. But with this new speed control, I have the new throttle twister. This is a brain power 250 watt, 36 to 48 volt speed control system, and I have some basic kind of screw-on cable plugs. And then I also bought a Bafang 9-pin circle plug to split adapter. So basically it changes it to standard cables versus being one complete circle system. That way it works for this new speed control system. Although this speed control doesn't have the 6-pin Hall sensors, it only has 5 pins versus the 6-pin that comes with the bike itself. So I was like, whatever. So I only have 5-pin Hall sensors for the wheel, but it works okay. I don't know what the white cable does, but that's the only cable that's missing from the speed control. But everything else works pretty well. But yeah, so you can see this comes from the 9-pin, and then it changes to the standard wires. So you have 6 Hall sensors cables, and then you have the 3-phase brushless cables. Basically, without the Hall sensors, the brushless system doesn't have that sensing technology for low-end speed or mid-end speed. So basically, if you crank up the power straight off the bat, it's just going to go. So you have to slowly go, or you basically pedal the bike up to a certain speed, and then you'll be able to go on consistently because it'll break off that low-end rolling ability. And there's also a built-in automatic cruise function on here that I had to disable because obviously I don't have the brake sensors for the bike enabled. So I want to disable that so I don't keep on going, and then end up like... but basically, it's just a cable that wraps around on itself, and yeah. And then there's another cable that does the same thing. I'm not sure what that does. It's probably just a sort of kind of a fuse system, so you can take it out, make sure that nobody turns on the bike itself. But I have the ability to unplug the back end here, and there's also a switch on the front, so dual ways to turn it off. But yeah, so after rigging up all the power stuff to it, I have this, my speed control in here instead of up here because it was more easier to actually maneuver everything and configure everything. So kind of the cables are a bit wonky, but I'll probably fix this up later when I get a rack mounted system and whatnot. But here we go. I'm gonna plug this on, and then so you can see no power at the moment. Turn it on. And it has the same kind of anti-power ability as my Yukon did. So basically, if I'm drived up into a wall like this, say I'm drived up into a wall and I crank the power, it takes about 3 seconds to 5 seconds, and it just disables. And then you can see now I have no power. Ooh. There's a frog! Kill it! Ah! There is. It's an actual frog. It's a little tiny sucker too. Anybody want frog legs? Just give it a little stun. Nah. I just hopped into the wall. Anyways, so like I said, without the 5-phase Hall sensor cables, it'll have a little stutter issue if you try and max out power performance straight off the bat. But it'll work without the Hall sensors. But like I said, yeah, just like hobby grade RC cars, where the sensorless brushless systems don't have great low end power ability. Basically, they can't start, slow start. They have to go. Woo! This is kind of the opposite way, where it will work slow, but it won't be able to go until you get to a certain speed to go maximum power. Anyways, peace out. I'll see you guys later.